My next one is one that you will not be surprised to hear me talk about. I talk about, I'll say her all the time. An artist that I just love her music. And that's Courtney Love. And I'm tying Courtney Love and Hole together. Now, this one's interesting because I would say Hole's album Live Through This is not anything that belongs on any kind of a guilty pleasure. Like, that was a bona fide hit album. Tons of people bought it. There was nothing uncool about that album. So it might seem like, well, how can that be on this list? But I didn't stop with that album. I listened to Celebrity Skin. I listened to Nobody's Daughter, which really is essentially a Courtney Love solo album. Eric Erlandson was not involved with that at all. And in fact, there was some kind of debate over whether Courtney even had the right to use the name Hole for it. She hired like some dude who was like a 20-year-old guitarist or something to play on that album. It was like such a weird thing that happened. But my favorite thing that Courtney Love has done is her solo album, America's Sweetheart. And that album got panned. Like, nobody liked that album, and I adore it. I just listened to it driving back to Columbus over the weekend. I listened to it just to refresh my memory on it. And I mean, I love that album. I don't know what there's a vulnerability to Courtney Love. Like, she's lived a hard life in some ways. In some obvious ways, but like, you know, a lot of it maybe is self-inflicted. There's always questions over how genuine she is and this and that. But like, in her music and in her vocal delivery, you can just feel the pain that she's trying to get across in these songs. And something about that just latches on with me. And I just resonate completely with that style of delivery. You know, her whole, you know, they could lean into punk, but like, to me, these were just like really good alternative rock songs, especially by the time you got to like Celebrity Skin, a lot of that punk veneer had come off. I mean, that's almost a pop rock album in a lot of ways. But yeah, I don't think there's anything cool about Courtney Love. Like, I don't think people look at her today and think she's real cool or anything like that. But I love Courtney Love's music, and I think people might be kind of surprised, you know, just based on the bands that I listen to, that this is somebody that I've listened to everything she does, you know, all of these albums.
Yeah, Courtney Love is. I was never a giant fan of any of the music. I do think she's an entertaining personality. I thought she was really good in Man on the Moon.
Yes, she's very surprisingly good.
But then she kind of disappeared from the acting scene too. It's a very confusing career, but
yeah,
I think it's another kind of respectable pick. And although I think you're right that most people don't listen to that solo record at all.
Yeah.
I think for most people, it's Live Through This and maybe one song off Celebrity Skin.
Yeah, pretty much. Malibu.
So is Hole essentially Courtney Love and a backup band at this point then?
So not really. So after she did that,
Melissa Oftermar
and Eric Erlandson and
Eric Erlandson.
I forget the drummer's name. But they so after she did that Nobody's Daughter album and used the name Hole, and you know, Eric got really pissed about it. They actually reconciled after that, and Courtney actually publicly apologized for it and basically said Eric was right. I shouldn't have done that. Like, it was a Courtney Love solo album. They have played some one-off shows, the original Hole, here and there. There's always talk in the water that they might do something again. Courtney has certainly not slammed the door shut on that, but she also hasn't said like anything is like on the horizon or anything like that.
There's certain artists with certain careers where you almost don't blame them for bringing the rest of the band back.
Yeah.
It's like, does anybody need the Ben Folds 5, or could we just go see Ben Folds?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so he's good. He's good.
Yeah. Oh,
All right,
that bass player was pretty darn good, though.
He was, but now it's just, to our earlier conversation about bands not having to split money.
Yeah,
he just goes out there with a piano.
That's great.
And he does the coolest tours. It's called the Paper Airplane Request Tour, where you put your request on a paper airplane, you throw it at the stage.
Oh, I love that. That's very cool.
And he'll play something that comes up on a paper airplane.
That's very cool.